parade. You see my baby there, laid out on a long white table. So cool, so fair, so bad. When I die, please bury me. Box back gold mine, Stetson high. Put a $20 gold coin on my watch chain, so all the boys can see I died standing pat.
What? Sorry, just quickly. What if it's down, down, down.
Alright, so this is going to be a quick show around because as usual I leave everything to the last minute, like taking footage of the finished result, and the owner has to leave. So I show what's been done. So as you could see, we have the ES 100K Focal two-way in the doors, semi-active with the passive crossovers, but I installed the tweeters rather on axis in little 3D printed cups. Nice and simple. Yes, it could have been integrated better to the setup panel, but one tricky thing I told to the owner as well is that that's not a separate setup panel. It goes all the way back on the door like that. So you would have to figure out the finish on the whole piece. So this way it didn't need that much modification, and you have better response, better top end coming out of the speakers, as you know, compared to having them off axis, just literally putting them into the flat piece of the trim panel. On the seat drivers, you could see that from previous footage. or well, it may be a video coming after this. I don't know when I'm going to share all the content showing the work. The controller for the DSP is right there. It's very easy to hide, just like that, and then easy access. So it's pretty factory, other than, you know, the tweeters. Nice and simple. Then we have forecast plug and play drivers for the rears. You can just see the tweeter through the grill. It's a coax at the back, which has different ways running with different presets. I'll talk about that in a second. And then we have a fully practical trunk with the puzzle technique subwoofer enclosure. Let's pull this one back. So as you see, the trunk is fully practical. The sub box is in line with the side panel. I had to modify the floor panel because that goes further out, just like on that side, so that had to be trimmed off. And then we have the ZAPCO ADSP 8-channel amp there. It's that simple. Dust on it, simple as that. It has the built-in Bluetooth, so not just like now we are streaming. The factory radio will have to be coded, which hasn't happened yet. It will be coded for the most signal, fiber optic signal going out of it, and then the optical is already plugged into the amp. Then we will run digital from the factory source instead of speaker line like now it's integrated on, which is not great. I really wouldn't suggest that to anyone unless that's the only solution. Fuse holder for the amp, that's it, simple as that. So practical daily car with good sound. I have no idea, I wasn't recording any of this, great. So I wanted to quickly show to the guys on YouTube what presets have been created. So preset change is that easy, it's instant, it's not going to come through the phone really well. But one is a preset where it's only the front end playing with the sub, so it's the purest, most accurate setup when time alignment is done correctly as well. And then center stage falls right in between far left, far right, bang. One disadvantage with these BMW platforms is that because of the mid-range location, stage is slightly lower, so it's kind of like there. Tweeter helps, but it doesn't help to pull it up that high. But then we have another preset when the rears also play, and the rear was tuned in a way that it enhances the front instead of making a mess, and actually it helps to lift the stage height as well. You just hear a setup with more room information, and you can tell that there's something coming from elsewhere as well, not just from the front. But you can't locate the speakers at the back, can you? Not much, I guess. You can't locate the speakers at the back.
No, not really, but you hear the fill.
Yeah.
It completes the picture because you have
yeah.
I don't know, it's like a surround effect without being surround.
Yeah, you have to tune it carefully. But then we have two more presets for people who like a fake center image, because I've just come across with a client I'm going to build a system for. Well, you could see from the previous video I shared when we had the tuning in the Porsche Boxster, or the Porsche, sorry. I was told off by someone that it's not Porsche, it's Porsche.
Porsche.
I know. Originally I'm from Hungary and people call a Porsche, but in UK they call it Porsche. It is what it is, pronunciation differences. So we have 3 where everything is lined up in front of the driver.
Somewhere beside me, I searched around.
Some people prefer that, I get it, but then it's not correct. It means you have to fake the time alignment and pull the image in front of you, but then instruments won't look, they won't separate that well, because you have your stage right this narrow and left is that super wide, and all the instruments that were mastered and recorded on that side are getting blurry. It won't be that pinpoint accurate. But you have a better image right in front of you, what some people prefer.
Driver focused.
Yeah. It's easier if you have a center speaker to create that, or a 2-seat tune, but it fucks up the stereo completely.
Okay.
Because normally you would only hear mono signal in the center if it's coming from left and right with the equal level. But then with the center speaker you will always hear it coming from the same place. It's not going to move anywhere else. And your stage depth won't change too much either. It will be pretty limited to the location where the driver is in the center. Whereas there are recordings where center, you can tell the center or the singer is really close to you or far back. But if you have a speaker there, it's not going to give that.
So do you get rid of the speaker if you buy a car with a speaker in the center?
Personally, I never built systems with center speakers. I'm not against it, but I'm not even recommending it.
I'm not sure in the other car that I showed you if I have a center speaker.
I have to check that, possible.
Yeah.
The 5 Series had a center speaker, but honestly, it screws everything up.
So you took it out in the 5 Series?
No, we didn't even use it. We didn't take
Okay.
it out. We just didn't integrate it.
Right.
We put the aftermarket system in with stereo setup.
Okay.
Like in the M5 as well, the mid-range was in the factory location, but the tweeter was in a custom sail panel. And then we just forgot the center speaker because the image is so solid, rock solid, that it's right there. So this is it. Simple setup, soundproof properly, custom sub enclosure, tuned properly, and it does a little bit of a difference, just a little, right?
Tiny difference. Tiny difference. It's night and day, the difference in the car. Even the way the doors close now, it's like I'm in a 7 Series. Like heavy, solid.
It
I'm
should
sure
be really quiet on the road
when I
as
get
well.
on the motorway, it's going to be much quieter, which means I can appreciate all this hard work even better.
Yeah. The beautiful thing is, I mentioned to the owner as well that I played the mid-range without a high-pass filter just to test rattles. So it was playing all the way down as low as it can, and full-tailed, no rattles, nothing whatsoever. The underseat driver doesn't rattle, fortunately. It doesn't even excite the seal like in the other 3 Series I built a year ago. So that was a bonus. So overall, yeah, it's wicked. You know, the guy who heard it, who came down with the Boxster, he was just like, "Pete, don't tell me that this only costs this much." Well, I can tell it to everyone. People are always interested in, you know, how much a system like this costs. It really depends on the finish, what someone wants. You know, I could have spent an extra day with the sail panel integrating the tweeters better. Or if you use multiple amplifiers, it takes more wiring. But this current car with this package, with all the equipment, and 8 days went into it. Whereas shops would kick this system out possibly in a single day or 2 days, maybe with multiple people, but it would be quick plug and play. So the labor is the biggest part, and then overall the system is roughly around now 4.5, 5k, depending on who builds it with what labor cost. UK rate. But yeah, you could get the system from a fraction of it, 2.5, 3k, but it wouldn't sound like this. So something for something, that's the big difference. Okay, we'll leave this video here now. I don't know, I will probably share the work that was done on it separately later, like how the sub enclosure was built, the underseat driver, things like that. And I will show all the pictures in a separate video for you guys from all the work that was carried out on it. But you can go to the description, click on the Facebook link, And then even if you don't have a Facebook account, I'm sure you can open it and you can see all the pictures of this installation. Then you will have a better idea of what work really went into it. So I leave it here now, guys. Please feel free to share it. More and more people have to, you know, follow this channel, because I believe I share a lot of information that other shops or other people in sound quality don't do. So subscribe if you're not subscribed yet, and then hopefully I can bring more and more videos as soon as possible. Take care.